Hi everybody. Thanks for checking back in for another edition of Let's Be Creative with the LBC. My name is Andrew, and today I want to talk about getting started learning how to play this little instrument right here. It's gotten very popular over the past few years. It's called the ukulele. And I think one of the reasons it's gotten so popular is it is not hard to learn how to play this instrument. Whether you're a child or adult, whether you have experience or not with music, you can learn how to play this instrument. So if learning an instrument is something that you've always wanted to do, this is your big chance. Today we're going to talk about one of the roadblocks, I think probably the main roadblock to getting started or learning how to play this when there isn't a musician or a teacher around to help you. And that is making sure that the instrument's in tune before you start learning how to play. Because if you pick your instrument up and it is not in tune, even when you're doing the chords right, no. So that's not what we want to hear. We want to hear something that's in tune, and when you start to play these easy chords, it comes out sounding really nice and you feel really good because you are successful. And that's going to make you want to play more. So I think the first thing that we should talk about today is the tuning. And there are several different ways to do that. And so that's what we're going to mainly talk about today, is getting your ukulele in tune. So let's go. So to start talking about tuning today, I'm going to assume that you don't have experience with this and you need some help learning how to use a tuner. These kinds of tuners are really helpful, the clip-on ones, and they read the vibration coming from the instrument. But let's say you have an instrument, but you don't have one of these. If you are going to continue to learn how to play, I would suggest getting one. You can find, this one is called a snark. I really like this kind. But there's all different kinds of tuners out there. You can order one. If stores aren't open right now, you could order one from online. But what if you want to get started playing right away and you don't have a tuner like that? So my suggestion would be to go to the App Store, get your device and go to the App Store and download a free tuner. This one is called Tuner Lite by PS Score. And I think it's one of the first, in the App Store, it's one of the first free tuners on the list. So that's what I'm going to be using today. And I'm going to show you how you tune. So the first thing you need to do is, there's like a little picture of a tuning fork, and I'm going to press that, and that turns on the tuner function. And so we basically go through each string, and in order to know how to operate the tuner, you're going to need to know the names of the strings, and they all have letter names. And another day we'll talk about first, second, third string. We're going to talk about all of that in another chapter. But for today, we need to know that these strings have names, and they are G, and then the next one is C, and the next one is E, and then the last one is A. That's if you start at the top, the one string close to your face, that's actually string 4. But for now, we're just going to talk about, this is the string on top, and that is G, C, E, A. And one phrase that we came up with to help remember those letters, if you can't remember them, is goats can eat anything. Make a cute little phrase like that, help you remember it. So you've got G, C, E, A. The reason you need to know those letters is because when you go to the tuner, let's put the tuner up on the screen, and you can see right now that my voice is actually activating the tuner. So one thing about using a tuner that has is using the microphone of your device, you're going to need to be in a quiet room for this to work. When you use a tuner like this, which maybe we can talk about another time, it's just reading the vibrations that are coming from the instrument. So you could actually be in a fairly noisy room and still tune your instrument. When you have the one, you can get the app for your phone, for an iPad, for any tablet device. When you use those, any external noise in the room will also be read. You can see the tuners going crazy right now, trying to pick up what note I'm speaking. So what we want to do is we hit that button on the left that is the little picture of a tuning fork. And when you pluck the string, that first one, now this instrument's in tune already, so when you pluck the string, it should say G. And right there is my G. But let's see how this one is. If I have one that's not in tune, it may not be right on G. Let's see. Okay, now you see how we got it to say G, but it's not, that little needle, that little digital needle is not up at 0. So if the needle is to the left of 0, it means that the note needs to come up. It's called, in music, you call that being flat. So we're a little bit flat, and the one important thing to know about doing this is if you're close, you don't want to make big turns. You'll see right now. So I'm going to play the G, and I am on the right letter, so I'm going to slowly, gradually bring it up. See, it's getting closer to 0. And there we go. Now, it's not going to stay right in the middle perfectly for a very, very extended period of time, but as long as you get it to get pretty close, and if you notice, I didn't turn that very much for it to move, for the needle to move. So if you start cranking it a bunch of times, you're going to find that you pass, then you'll leave the note G, and now you'll be on another note. So then after G, we want to go to the next string, which would be C. So we're going to see what we have here on this instrument that is not in tune. And that, again, just like the G, it's flat. So we need to take this tuning peg, and if the strings are put on correctly, in order to raise it, you need to turn this counterclockwise, which would be away from yourself. And so again, just a little bit, barely moving it, and it's already come up. And there it is. So now we have 2 strings in tune. One thing I should say about this is when you're doing these, you don't want to hit the string repeatedly like this. This one rattles a little bit. It's better to hit a nice long note and let the microphone get the note. I've seen some people when they first start tuning trying to do it so many times, and the tuner has a hard time with that. It can't grab onto what it's actually trying to read. So then the next thing we do, we have G and we have C. So then the next string is E. And so we go to E. Let's see what this E, this is a very important point. You got to make sure that you're turning the tuning peg for the string that you want to be tuning. A lot of times this happens a lot, especially when people are first starting. They're trying to tune one string and accidentally turning the wrong one and wondering why the note is not moving and nothing's happening. Well, it's because you're plucking one string down here and you are not turning the right tuning peg. So you definitely want to make sure that if you're on the fourth string, which is the one closest to your face, that you are turning this peg. So, you can trace it up with your finger, go really slow. You're probably sitting in a quiet room by yourself or with someone else who is being quiet with you. And so you can just take your time and make sure you're turning the right one. When we go to this side, this one will be E. So we had G, C. Now we're going to go here to E. This one, if the strings are put on correctly, you're going to now turn clockwise, which is toward your body. And this one, let's just say this one's way off, because I want to show you what you do if you don't get the letter you need. This is supposed to be an E. And look, the tuner says it's a D. It's actually on the sharp side of D. But I don't want it to be a D. I want it to be an E. So if you think about it, the alphabet, A, B, C, D, E. E is above D. So we want to go up to get to E because that's where we want to be. So we might turn this one a little bit more than we did the other ones because we need to get to E. Now it says E flat, which is right below E. That little B sign for people who haven't seen that before. That little sign that looks like a B right next to that E on the tuner. That is, in music, that's a flat. And so that's an actual note, an E flat. But we don't want it to be E flat, we want it to be E. So we're gonna keep on going clockwise. Keep going. Oh, and now it's an E, but it's flat. See how I'm not turning this very much? Just watching and making small movements. And there we go. Now we're on E. So now we have this one. This was our instrument that was in tune. And now this one is the same. And this is particularly important if you are trying to tune your instrument to play along with other people. Everyone needs to be in the same tuning. It's not as important if you're trying to play by yourself, but again, if you're beginning, you probably are not going to just tune it up by ear. You probably want to use a tool to help you get it in tune. So far we have G, C, E. The last string should be an A. And we're going to try to see what it says right now. We get a B flat. That's not what we want. We want it to say A. So in the alphabet, A, B, C, D, we have a B flat. We want to now come down so that our B flat will turn into an A. So we play it again. This time we're going to turn because we're on this side, we're going to go back counterclockwise away from us, away from the body. And that will take it down. That will take the pitch of the note down. So here it comes. Now there's our A. And the needle's moving down toward A. And I think that's it. Well, so now, an instrument that was very much out of tune when I first picked it up is in tune now. So that is the way you tune. And if you don't have a tuner, the online, the App Store online, you can get a free version of, if you want, you can get the exact same one. There are going to be lots of different choices, and they all pretty much look and work the same. So there you go. That was our first lesson on getting your ukulele in tune, even if you don't have a tuner at home. Hopefully it's something that was helpful. And over the next couple of weeks, we will be learning how to play the simple, basic 4 or 5 chords that you usually learn when you're learning how to play the ukulele. And then after we know those, we'll put them together and play some songs. So it's going to be fun. I really feel like music is for everybody. And if you have wanted to learn how to play an instrument, but have never given yourself the chance or taken the time, this is a great way to start. So, looking forward to seeing you next time. Don't forget that tomorrow and every day at 1 o'clock, there will be another episode of Let's Be Creative with the LBC. Until I see you again, take care. Bye.